I don't know where that analogy was going. Probably nowhere good. So I'm going to just abandon it now. Hit me, producer Potts.
For years, we have collectively known that olive oil is a health promoting choice. And thanks to you, we now know that vegetable oils do have health benefits. Now, this has me thinking, how does olive oil stack up with the most common and well-known vegetable oil, canola oil?
The most exciting thing that I have learned in all of this research is that just like we put olive oil kind of in a class of its own, right? We make it its own category of like heart healthy fat. We should be doing the same thing with canola oil, and putting it in like another its own, like I think we create, it's a tide. It's both people got a gold medal at the Olympics and they got to share the platform, and we have canola oil on the platform and olive oil on the platform, and actually we want to be including both in our diets. So let's actually just start with like what canola oil is, and how, like, what it's composed of, because I think canola oil is well, yeah, people love to hate canola oil. It really doesn't have the same PR team that olive oil has. I think that is the most important take home of this
Well,
video.
and I'll just say, prior to getting all this information from you about vegetable oils, whenever I thought of canola oil, I didn't think canola oil. I thought industrial processing. And I know we're going to cover quality and all of that in another video. So everyone just put a pin in that for a second. But like, I think that's where all of our minds go, is like to something that's ultra processed and just like full of chemicals and all of this. So yes, what is canola oil? Because I think we all have this skewed view of what it is.
Yeah, it comes from the seed of a cruciferous vegetable plant. It's a two different cultivars. One is Brassica napus, one is Brassica rapa. So exactly the same species of cruciferous vegetable that lots of our favorite vegetables come
Sarah,
from.
you just blew my mind. A cruciferous vegetable?
Yeah.
Like, we know that cruciferous vegetables are like one of the best things we can eat to like help reduce cancer. You say that all the time. Like,
Yes.
it's a very health promoting vegetable. That's where okay, I think I need to learn. So okay, go. I need to learn some things. This is
So
mind blowing.
so here's its common name. Canada gave it its name canola. It actually literally comes from Canada, and ola, which is the Latin for oil. Because it needed some branding help, because the common name of the plant, it's not broccoli or cabbage, it's rapeseed.
Oh, I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's canola
okay.
oil. So
Okay.
I think
That makes sense.
that's where the rebranding came from, but I think that's where a lot of the love to hate also comes from, is the fact that its common name just sounds wrong.
Well, yes, correct.
Yeah.
But that's a cruciferous vegetable.
Yes, it literally comes from the Latin, like Brassica rapa, the rapa
Interesting.
seed.
Oh, okay.
That's
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yep. Okay, here's a cool thing.
Okay.
So, first came around in the early 1970s. So also it's a fairly new oil. So we always want to blame the new thing, right? But what they had to do was they had to very specifically create a variety of this cruciferous plant where the seeds had low, it's called erucic acid. I should have said that more confidently and pretended I know how to pronounce that word. I'm not sure. But that is it's actually a fat, but it is one that is actually toxic in high levels. It's not found in a lot of plants. We're not getting this in any meaningful quantities from our diet under normal circumstances. So that was like a prerequisite for rapeseed oil, then rebranded to canola oil to become a thing. And then the other thing is like the original attempts to isolate this oil, it was very, very bitter. And so they actually also kind of like the same thing that happened to Brussels sprouts, where they bred cultivars that had fewer of those bitter glucosinolates. Same thing happened with the rapeseed cultivars, as they were bred to have fewer of the really bitter glucosinolates so that the oil would have a more neutral taste.
Well, here's a random question. I don't even know if you know the answer to this, but this is where my brain went, is like, why did we need another oil? What was the um necessity of that, I guess, if we already had butter and olive oil at that moment in time, right? Like, was there a driving factor behind that, or do we not
I mean,
know?
I'm sure someone knows the answer to that question. It's not me.
Yeah, be
Yeah,
interesting to find out.
I don't know. I imagine it has something to do with cheaper sources of vegetable oil for a food
Right,
industry
because
that has
it does
increased
take a
demand.
lot for olive oil, like.
Right. Yeah. Olive oil is I mean, everyone knows, you see the prices at the grocery store. It's a
Right.
more expensive oil to make, right? Olive trees only grow in certain varieties, and then or certain areas, they have to be fermented. Like there's lots of
Right.
stuff to it. Whereas, this would be in the same period of time where sunflower seed oil, safflower oil, corn oil was sort of all gaining in popularity. And my
Gotcha, that
guess,
makes sense.
again, I'm guessing here, my guess is there was some, an increased demand for cheaper
Affordable
oils.
oils.
Yeah.
And like, how also, just as a side tangent, really quick, since we're talking about the canola oil, I just feel like, how sad if you like figured out how to do this and made this more affordable oil that was health promoting, that we know now, and uh, a great oil to use, and you were able to do it more affordably, which meant that you were helping people, like, use something more affordable. I feel bad for I feel bad for canola oil that it's had all this horrible marketing against it for so long.
Yeah.
They're just trying to do like a good thing. Like, here's a more affordable. Wow, that kind of makes me sad. I feel bad.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the other thing. Canola oil is like a really cool composition of fats. So I think in a previous video of the vegetable oil video saga series, we talked about safflower oil being nearly entirely linoleic acid.
Right.
Canola oil is only about 20% linoleic acid. So it's still considered a vegetable oil because it's still high linoleic acid, but it's actually up to 66% of its fat is from oleic acid, the same heart healthy monounsaturated fat that is in olive oil and avocado oil.
So why have people been so fussed all this time then? Wow. Okay. That's I'm kind of upset now.
Okay. Okay, I've got three more. I've got several more data points for you that are going to even further.
Let's go.
Because
actually, this video is the video that's going to make me go buy canola oil, because now I feel bad.
yeah. This research got me to go buy canola oil and start using it.
Yeah.
So
okay, let's keep going.
This is what we're doing.
I'm getting fired up now.
Loving canola oil. We are doing the PR job that nobody has done for canola oil in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, so canola oil is up to 66% oleic acid. Olive oil, depending on the cultivar, like what type of olive, where it's grown, is between 60 and 80% oleic acid. So canola oil actually has about the same amount of heart healthy oleic acid as olive oil, depending on the olive, like where you're getting your olive oil from.
The money I could have saved. Oh my gosh, I'm really starting to get upset.
Okay. So we've already talked about linoleic acid being good.
Right.
We've alluded to many times oleic acid, definitely hugely beneficial.
Right.
We also talked about omega-3s being good, including alpha-linolenic acid, which is the plant-based omega-3.
Right.
Canola oil comes from plants. We're not surprised it has the plant-based omega-3, right?
Right.
7 to 15% of its fat is alpha-linolenic acid. It's an omega-3.
They had all of the key tenets to promote their oil and outdo olive oil and they just had a horrible PR team. I mean,
That
not that foods, well, I guess foods have PR teams. I don't know if foods actually have PR teams.
I
You know what
don't
I mean?
know.
Like, I just like, wow, that's mind blowing.
I have one more data point.
Oh my gosh, I can't handle it. Go.
It is one of the highest concentrations of phytosterols of any oil. Phytosterols are a group of phytonutrients that have a cholesterol-like structure. And because they have a cholesterol-like structure, they block cholesterol from being absorbed in our digestive tract and are known to lower our cholesterol levels.
Okay, I'm going to the street. I'm gonna buy some canola oil now. I really am.
So
Like,
wait, I have in front of me, I have the actual amounts here. So this is from a
yeah, give
2019
us the amounts.
analysis.
Oh, I'm cry
So
laughing right now, just so everyone knows. Oh my gosh. Okay.
canola oil has 893 milligrams of phytosterols per 100 grams of oil, compared to olive oil, which only has 288 milligrams of phytosterols per 100 grams of oil. So that's like three times the phytosterol content of olive oil.
So all of this just makes so much sense of why you said, you know, have both canola oil and olive oil in your kitchen, and, you know, use both, swap between the two.
So
this makes so much. Oh my
there
gosh.
have been studies where they have pitted canola oil against olive oil, or they've looked at a bunch of different oils. I've got some in front of me that we can actually compare.
Okay, yeah, let's see. Let's do it.
Okay, so this one was a 2021 randomized control trial in females with PCOS, and they did 10 weeks of canola oil consumption or olive oil or sunflower oil. So they had the 3 different oils to compare. 25 grams daily, which is a couple of tablespoons. Like that's a good amount of oil.
That's a lot of fat.
So the canola oil consumption improved their cholesterol. So it improved their triglycerides, total cholesterol to HDL ratio, and triglyceride to HDL ratio, and also improved their insulin resistance.
Okay.
Yeah, in a bigger effect. In a bigger effect. Let me just say that again. In a bigger effect than olive oil.
Wow.
And then they both improved the severity of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in this 2021 study. But you know how we like systematic reviews over here at Nutrivore, right?
Yes. One study will never do.
2020 systematic review and meta-analysis of 42 controlled clinical trials that compared canola oil to other edible oils, including olive oil, saturated fats, and sunflower oil. Canola oil led to the greatest improvements in cardiometabolic risk factors. They reduced total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, LDL to HDL ratio, total cholesterol to HDL ratio, ApoB levels, the ApoB to ApoA1 ratio, which is stuff that if you have a really nerdy doctor, they will go through all of that stuff with you. Just know it's good. It's good when that happens. And they showed a dose response that showed that the optimal effects on serum lipids, so like our cardiovascular disease risk factors, was in the sweet spot of 15% of our total calories coming from canola oil.
Wow. So I'm this is crazy. Okay. So where my brain goes is I think like canola oil should hire you to like redo their marketing campaign, because
I'm available.
This is actually crazy. And I think also, here's what I'll just say to everybody now. Go stock up on your canola oil, because once this gets out there, the tables will turn and canola oil will then be too expensive for all of us.
Wow.
That's what will happen, unfortunately. So enjoy it now while it's cheap, everyone. Like that's where my brain
that is
goes.
the very sad part of the supply and demand equation.
Right. But it's also part of the problem of like putting any one food on a pedestal, because you've also said dietary diversity. And that's why you say it's good to have like a mixture, because I know you use coconut oil for some things in your house, you use olive oil, you use canola oil, and even like avocado oil. You say when it's on sale, you snag it. So like, I think it's all about And butter is just like the best thing for some things, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to use a diversity and not put anyone on a pedestal. But it sounds like from what you're saying, canola oil is equal, if not better than olive oil.
So,
Am I taking this too far now?
So there was a really interesting study that just pitted canola oil to olive oil and compared their impact on, like, they were looking at really interesting, like, biochemistry details of cardiovascular disease risk. So not like this meta-analysis that looked at like the big things that any doctor can order on a blood test, but they were looking at like the really interesting biochemistry that leads to those big things. And what they showed was that they worked differently, so that they were both improving cardiometabolic risk factors, but through different pathways, which implies that we actually would be healthiest consuming, like making room for both in our diets. So that's why I say, like, tied for gold medal. They get to share the Olympic champion platform together, is canola oil and olive oil, because they seem to benefit our cardiometabolic risk factors in different but approximately equal magnitude ways. So ideally, we would actually make room for both. And that's probably because they both have lots of oleic acid, and it's the other fats that are a little bit different between olive oil and canola oil, and like differently beneficial. So yeah, I would, I will say in my kitchen, I am, since ditching my own fears about vegetable oils, because one of the reasons why I care so much about busting these myths is because I used to believe them. So I do understand how like mind-bending it is to actually dig into all this science, because I had to do it. I had to like really work to like go through all of the scientific evidence and face my own biases about vegetable oil and
also
get rid of them.
This is the 6th video we've recorded today on this topic, and it took me getting to video number 6 for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna go buy some canola oil.
For reals.
Also, yeah, okay, it's good though. It's good though.
That's why we're doing this series. Like that's why we decided we really needed to take this epic article and turn it into a video series, because also, there's just a different opportunity to explain things differently in a video versus an article. So hopefully these videos and the article can go hand to hand and really help you really look at the science and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to the store and buy some canola oil now. And I'm not going to be afraid of safflower or sunflower or corn or soybean oil or any of these other vegetable oils, because I know that they're all beneficial. But we are going to put canola and olive oil on this pedestals together.
I get the top,
avocado
top
oil
billing.
Could probably join them, but
it's so expensive.
It is so expensive. For sure. Like that's the other thing is
canola is so affordable.
Canola oil is so cheap compared to these other oils. I think, and the other thing is avocado oil has not been as extensively studied. So there isn't the same body of scientific literature. Just based on its composition, it's very similar in composition to canola and olive oil. We would expect it to be similar. There are some studies, but if we're looking at sort of like the depth of scientific evidence as well, that's also why this pedestal.
Right.
And then other vegetable oils, and avocado oil can be over here with a silver medal, and then coconut oil in moderation, because the data on saturated fats is mixed. I still use butter or ghee in cooking when I need that flavor. But if I don't need that flavor, I use anything else, right? So, making sure that saturated fat intake is in moderation, whether that's animal or plant, I think is really important as well. So, canola oil
is fantastic.
Is so good for us.
And deserves a redemption arc like we've never seen.
I'm making, this is my apology video to canola oil for all
I feel bad
in the past.
I feel bad at it. I'm not, I don't even have this is a pretty mind blank. Okay. Well, and everyone who has questions on quality, hold them, because we have one more video in this series and we're going to tackle that next. So watch out for that video. This will all be in a playlist. There's the in-depth article. We are going to get into quality and processing and all that, because I'm sure that's everyone's like, well, what canola oil do I buy? So we're going to get into that next video. So stay tuned for that. Come on back. Please drop your questions below if you have them. We just ask that you approach with curiosity and kindness. And yeah, wow. As soon as we're done, I'm going to buy some canola oil today. So thanks, Dr. Sarah.
No problem.